My boss, Grant Whitlock, removed every table and chair from the operations team's area during the company's holiday party. Then, he placed one stainless steel dog bowl in the middle of the stage. Ops is basically the company's guard dog, he announced. And dogs don't eat at the table. The top sales guy laughed and scraped his leftovers straight into the bowl. After that, Grant threw a black trash bag over my shoulders. From now on, you're our walking trash can. Make yourself useful. The room exploded with laughter. I didn't say a word. I just tightened my grip around the master access card in my hand. What they didn't know was that the building's emergency utility approvals, maintenance access, and property management favors all went through me. They were all living it up because of this dog they loved looking down on. I had had enough, so I dropped my employee badge into the dog bowl and walked out on them. I thought, after the holidays, no one will be cleaning the mess on those 2 floors. Let's see how well they survive without me. Chapter won the dog bowl. The stainless steel bowl sat beneath the banquet lights. The metallic finish nearly blinded me. It was no longer simply a dog bowl. It now contained half-eaten food, scraps, and greasy leftovers. Grant stood on the stage, dangling my year-end bonus check between 2 fingers. His beady eyes glinted with amusement, like he was a circus master waiting for his cheap little circus act to perform. I inhaled deeply. This time, I didn't lower my head. I didn't bend my back like I always had just to pick up their so-called reward. Instead, I reached up and removed the employee badge I had worn around my neck for the past 5 years. Then I flicked my wrist. Clang. The badge sliced through the air in a clean arc and landed straight inside the greasy dog bowl. Soup splashed up from the bottom of the bowl, and a few drops hit the polished leather shoes of the company's top sales rep. The laughter in the room died instantly. Caleb, what the hell do you think you're doing? Vivian Cross, the administrative director, shoved her way out of the crowd in a pair of red-bottom stilettos. The evening gown she had custom ordered for the holiday party looked tight across her chest and waist now, pulled stiff by her anger. Have you lost your mind? She snapped. Mr. Whitlock was just joking. He was keeping the party alive. What the hell are you doing? She jabbed a finger toward my face, so close she almost touched my nose. Stop throwing a tantrum like a child, Diane, this economy. You'll be nothing without us. And don't you even think about saying that we need you for facilities. Please. We could chain a dog to a desk, and it could do your job better than you do. Don't act like you're some big deal. I looked at this woman who had only been brought in 6 months ago. She had screamed in the office because the printer jammed just yesterday. She had yowled like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, demanding that I drop everything just to fix her problem. I slowly removed the black trash bag from my shoulders, crumpled it, and dropped it at my feet. I said calmly, "Well, Ms. Cross, I feel so much better knowing that you think a dog can do the job." I straightened my collar, my flat. In that case, I guess there's no need for a handover. I'll give you the keys now. I quit. Vivian clearly had not expected me to say those words. She hesitated for half a second before turning back to Grant, who remained on stage. We saw him make a sweeping motion with his hand, as if dismissing a fly. Vivian immediately lifted her chin and replied snootily, "Fine. I'll watch you pack. I want to make sure you won't be able to walk out of here with so much as a paper clip." Vivian sat in my passenger seat on the drive back to the office. My patience frayed as she just wouldn't stop talking. She complained that she had spent weeks planning the company's upscale holiday gala and that she was now missing the final raffle because of me. She was still seething by the time we got to the 15th floor, which was devoid of anyone. I walked to my desk and picked up the heavy ring of keys sitting beside my keyboard. "These are for the electrical rooms on the 15th and 16th floors," I explained, showing them to her one at a time. "These keys are for the server and network rooms. These are for storage A and storage B. This is the spare key to Mr. Whitlock's office." That key ring had taken me years to build, one key at a time. Vivian stood beside me like a prison guard, scowling in disgust. Just leave them there, she urged. Hurry up and get lost. We'll just hire a contractor for manual labor like this. I never understood why we even had a dead weight like you on payroll. I opened my drawer and began packing my personal belongings. There wasn't much, just a coffee mug and a small cactus. When I put my lighter and a packet of instant coffee into my bag, Vivian suddenly stepped forward and snatched the backpack from my hand. I need to check it. She dumped everything onto the desk. She only tossed my bag back at me after confirming there were no company hard drives, files, or documents inside. Chapter 2: The Man Who Kept the Lights On. Get out, Vivian barked. And don't come crawling back. This company will run even better without you. I packed my belongings in silence, slipping them into my bag. Before I left, I let my gaze linger on the office that had taken 5 years of my life. The master access card was still in my head. They had no clue that the building's smooth running, emergency fixes, and special favors all depended on the very company dog they had just tossed aside. If they wanted to call me trash, so be it. I would leave with the one thing no one could take from me, my dignity. So, I said nothing as I returned the master access card and stepped outside. The winter night air hit me, nearly turning my face to ice. I hugged my coat closer and glanced up at the 15th and 16th floors, their windows glowing against the cold. I joined Whitlock Capital Group with hope in my breast 5 years ago. I had been hired as an administrative coordinator. Everything changed 2 years ago. The company claimed I lacked a formal business administration background and transferred me to the operations team. My salary stayed the same, but the details of my job were completely different. I went from managing office routines to handling every thankless task others refused to do. To make matters worse, the entire so-called department was just me. 6 months ago, Vivian parachuted in as the new administrative director. She thought I was too plain, old-fashioned, and working class. On the first day she got here, she promoted one idea. Operations staff were inferior to everyone else. I endured the toxicity for 6 months because of the promised year-end bonus. In the end, my reward was a dog bowl. I arrived at the office every morning at exactly 7:30 a.m. for 5 whole years. The first thing I did was use my master access card to enter the electrical rooms and check the HVAC panels for both floors. The building's heating usually didn't turn on until 8:30 a.m., but I always started it manually earlier. I did that to ensure that everyone who arrived at 8:30 a.m. would be welcomed with warmth as soon as they shrugged off their coats. The most tedious part was lunch. There were too many employees and not enough microwaves. I would heat people's meals in batches starting from 11:15 a.m. I labeled each container, tracked the time, checked the temperature, and made sure everyone could start eating at the start of lunch break. No one had to wait in line, and every meal was served warm. Vivian called it babysitting and claimed that it made the company seem cheap. She never realized my so-called babysitting truly gave everyone an extra 20 minutes to rest at lunch. Then there were the endless disasters no one else wanted to fix. An important client dropped by last month. Vivian wanted to show off her good taste, so she ordered an expensive batch of imported flowers. The florist sent us the wrong arrangement. They had sent a funeral wreath instead of elegant reception flowers. There were only 30 minutes before the client arrived. Vivian panicked and did what she did best. She started caterwauling at the top of her lungs. I was the one who rode my scooter through heavy rain, went to 3 different flower markets, and brought back the right arrangements of anthuriums and lilies. When I returned, looking not unlike a drowned rat, Vivian's only comment was to complain about the carpet. Then there was the printer. That old Xerox machine broke down several times a month. The admin team's solution was always the same. They would call the repair company, hang an out-of-order sign, and wait 2 days. So I taught myself how to fix it. I fished out my nifty screwdriver and watched the repair video playing on my phone, uncaring that the toner had gotten on my sleeves. When the cartridges needed changing or the waste toner needed cleaning, I handled it in the stairwell with a mask on because Vivian claimed the dust would pollute the office air. The company's discounted office lease was also an accident no one liked to mention anymore. I went for a morning run in a park near the building 3 years ago. As I passed a small wooded area, I saw an elderly man collapse on the ground. People gathered around him, but no one dared to touch him. I had basic first aid training, so I didn't think twice. I rushed over, started CPR, called 911, and stayed with him until his family arrived at the hospital. That old man was Arthur Langford, the chairman of Langford Properties, the company that owned this entire building. Arthur later found out I was working with Whitlock Capital Group when they approached him for office space. He had his son, Daniel Langford, give the company a steeply discounted lease. He even waived the first 3 years of property management fees and parking fees. At the time, Daniel said right in front of Grant, "We're doing this because of Mr. Mercer. He saved my father's life. Treat him well." Grant smiled so broadly that he looked almost moved. He patted his chest and assured me he would treat me like family. Now that I thought about it, family was probably worth less than a dog bowl to those opportunists. They had grown used to the comfort I'd broken my back to provide. They had taken the cozy office, reliable utilities, ready-made lunches, working printers, affordable rent, and favors from property management all for granted. After a while, they just stopped seeing my contributions. To them, all of this was expected, just like the sky was blue and the grass was green. Chapter 3, The First Crack. Only when the last breath of air vanished would they truly grasp what it meant to suffocate. I raised a hand and hailed a taxi. "Home, please." A moment later, my phone buzzed. A bank alert flashed. I had gotten my paycheck, but it was stripped down to the bare minimum. I didn't get my year-end bonus, and they had even clawed back pay for my final days. Then I got another message. It was from Vivian. "Caleb, don't think for a second that walking out means you're off the hook. I'll sue you for defamation if you dare run your mouth about the company." I stared at the screen, a bitter laugh threatening to escape. They really believe Grant got that lease because he's a brilliant negotiator. That's fine that I'm done with them now. They can forget about Arthur's favor. That's mine. From now on, I'll show them what business is really like. The holiday break finally arrived. The first thing I did when I returned to my hometown was put my phone on silent. Then I blocked Grant, Vivian, and every Exco worker whose only messages were, "The water cooler is empty, the light's out, there's a package at the front desk," or "The printer's jammed again." When I woke up the next morning, sunlight was already streaming through the windowsill. I didn't wake up to any early morning calls about travel plans, texts regarding urgent repairs, and heard no notifications of people tagging me in the group chat before I had even brushed my teeth. The quiet was so peaceful that it nearly brought me to my knees. Now that I had nothing else to do, I started scrolling through my Instagram feed. Sometimes the algorithm hit its mark, other times it felt downright cruel. It pushed me to a local post. It showed me a cover picture, specifically a glossy 9-photo carousel from the holiday gala. The account belonged to Vivian. There she was, standing on the stage with a champagne in hand, beaming as she had just been crowned queen. The caption stated, "Out with the old, in with the new," clearing negative energy from the team and guiding the new admin team toward a more global and elevated future next year. I opened the comments. Naturally, the comments were pure theater. A few familiar accounts were already kissing asses. Based on the profile pictures, I recognized them as the office's self-appointed girls. Madison Bird, the receptionist, commented, "Finally, we don't have to put up with that old man's attitude anymore. He's always acting like someone's dad. He's so controlling that it grates on my nerves. He lectured me for hours just because I was a bit slow in grabbing a package." A cold laugh slipped from my lips. That so-called lecture was just me reminding her that the package held fresh food that would spoil if left out. Another girl from finance commented, "Exactly, he's always dressed like he's working at a junkyard. He ruins the company's image whenever he stands near the front desk. Cross, you did the right thing. We should have cleaned house ages ago. Then someone posted a photo of the dog bowl in the comments. The caption was worse. Some people need to know their place. The holiday gala is for contributors, not for janitors. Everyone should know their place. I stared at the post. The expected anger never came. Instead, I chuckled in amusement and pity. They had no clue that what they dismissed as no real skill was actually a system crafted from hundreds of tiny, invisible details. An iceberg always appeared smooth and simple above the surface. They never glimpsed the vast structure hidden below, holding everything aloft. Just then, a new message came in. It was from Mia Carter, the only intern in the admin team. Happy New Year, Caleb. A crying emoji followed. I don't think I can do this anymore. Ms. Cross doesn't teach me anything. She just yells at me. You're the one who walked me through the spreadsheets and approval processes. Now that you're gone, I'm completely lost. Another message came in right after. She even tried to make me come into the office over break to feed Grant's fish. She said she'd dock my pay if his precious tank died on my watch. I told her I was already out of town. Only then did she back off. Mia had joined the company a month ago. No one in the admin team had bothered to train her, so I had taken pity on her. Even though I was officially on the operations team, I had quietly taught her the admin workflow step by step. Now, she was likely the only one left who realized the ceiling was about to cave in. I replied, "Don't quit just yet. You should wait until after the break. The real show hasn't started." Then I added, "That reef tank in Grant's office is delicate. Those fish are done once the power cuts out and the oxygen pump stops for more than 2 hours. I'm certain Vivian doesn't know where the backup switch is." That custom saltwater tank, filled with flame angelfish, was Grant's pride and joy. Naturally, it was worth a fortune. During a holiday break, the building was always scheduled for electrical maintenance, which meant the power would be shut off for half a day. I was the one who went into the network room and switched on the backup supply to keep oxygen running through the tank every single damn year. This year, no one would be there to do it. Chapter 4, Strictly Business. The switch was hidden in a stupidly specific place that only I could ever find. And as for the key to the server and network rooms, it was either lost in the chaos of Vivian's infamous drawer or already gone out with yesterday's trash. Mia texted, "What? Then what should I do? Ms. Cross definitely doesn't know about that. She can't even find the fish food." She sent a panicked emoji right after. I replied, "That's her problem, not yours. You're an intern. It's not your job to clean up after a director. Trust me, turn off your phone and enjoy the holidays. When everyone goes back to work, you're going to see one hell of a show." I set my phone aside and watched fireworks bloom beyond the window. There was always something hauntingly beautiful about the calm before a storm. As for Grant's beloved saltwater reef tank, well, she could consider it my first welcome back gift for her elevated global admin team. 3 days into the holiday break, I was savoring a fresh cup of coffee when my phone suddenly lit up with calls from an unknown number. The moment I picked up, Grant's voice erupted through the speaker. "Caleb, who the hell do you think you are? You think you can throw a tantrum, quit, and then walk off with company secrets?" Contempt and threat dripped from every word. "I'll say this once, I'll call the cops on you if you do not return all confidential information today. You could be charged with corporate espionage, and I'll ensure you have an extremely damaging record." I eased the phone away from my ear and took a slow, unbothered sip of coffee. I had no idea what performance he was putting on now. Then Vivian's voice cut in, even sharper than his. "Caleb, I've already drafted the post. A former ops staff member gets fired, vanishes, and steals company property. I'll send it to all local job groups as soon as Mr. Whitlock approves it. I'll make sure that it'll spread through the industry and hiring networks in the city." Her words sliced through the line, vicious as ever. I'll make sure no admin or ops in the city ever touches your resume again. Grant came back on the line, his voice darker now. I'll also reach out to every vendor you've previously worked with and inform them that you are stealing office supplies and reselling company property. Once they hear this, they'll all put you on their blacklist. He gave a cold laugh. After this, anyone who hires you is making an enemy of me. My grip on the cup never wavered. When I spoke, my voice was calm. If you want to make a scene, go ahead, but I didn't steal anything. That accusation is false. I can sue you for defamation if you proceed with whatever tomfoolery you're doing. Vivian scoffed, but I pressed on. And since you're threatening to smear me online, I'll protect myself by saving all messages, drafts, and threats. If this goes public, everyone will see Whitlock Capital Group's true nature. Then I hung up on them. I blocked the number, silenced every industry group chat they might hijack, and began gathering the evidence I'd need if they actually followed through. My phone rang not even 2 minutes later. This time it was a landline. I answered. A steady male voice came through. Hello, am I speaking with Mr. Caleb Mercer? Yes, I said, my tone softening. This is Caleb. Who's calling? The man explained, I'm with Langford Properties. I'm calling to confirm something with you. My fingers froze around the cup. Go ahead. 3 years ago, you helped Mr. Arthur Langford during a medical emergency, he said. Mr. Langford has never forgotten that. When he learned you were working for Whitlock Capital Group, he personally arranged a special lease discount for the company. His tone remained professional, but each word landed with precision. We've now been notified that you're no longer with Whitlock Capital Group. Before we make any changes, we wanted to clarify this with you in order to proceed with our decision as to whether the discount should remain in place. I gazed out the window at the falling snow, a slow smile spreading across my face. I said, yes, I've left the company. A moment passed before I added, since I'm no longer there, there's no reason to continue extending that favor. Please proceed according to your usual policy. Understood, Mr. Mercer, he replied succinctly.